Hey, what's up, Husker Nation? My name is Logan Merrick, and this is Husker Central. On this channel, we talk about all things Husker football, where we kind of commiserate and celebrate together on whatever our Huskers are doing. Today, I'm going to be talking about what 5 quarterbacks I could see the Huskers going after in the transfer portal. Many of you guys have asked me, so I put a little list together of 5 quarterbacks I could see and why I can see it, their pros and their cons. So stick around, consider subscribing, and let's get started. All right. So first and foremost, I've got 5 quarterbacks that I went through the portal and I looked at, and then I've looked at, all right, how are they connected to Nebraska? Because I was thinking about what Matt Rule said in his press conference. He talked about how much a starting quarterback would cost, like a upper tier level. So he said 1.5 to 2 million. And then I got to thinking. He also said he really wants a guy that can be here for at least 2 years, unless they are a difference maker. So I'm not saying that they couldn't go after a guy like Will Howard from Kansas State. He is not on my list. Do I think there's a possibility? Yes. Do I think it's very small? Yes. Mostly because he has 1 year of eligibility. And I really believe that Matt Rule, because of what they're building and the foundational pieces that they have, he wants someone that can be here for at least 2 years. And so one of my guys, and the very first guy we're going to talk about, I could see only being here for 1 year, which is one of the reasons why, I think there's a chance. I think there's a better chance than Will Howard. But I put him on here because of some specific reasons, and we'll see that in just a second. But so all the quarterbacks on this list are those I think have a pretty good chance of being pursued by Nebraska. Um, and I think with Matt Rule saying, "Hey, I want someone that can either be an instant starter, instant like just someone that's an incredible quarterback, that's a difference maker," is his words, um, or someone that's going to be multi-year starters. So putting all that together and then looking at how are they connected to Nebraska? Are they connected to Nebraska? So let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling. My first quarterback up, and you guys that have been following the channel know that I am much bigger on PFF grades than just straight statistics. And so my first quarterback is Cam Ward from Washington State. Now, he's the one I think has the least amount of possibility coming to Nebraska because again, he's really he's a junior, so he technically has 2 years of eligibility, which is one of the reasons why I put him on the list. But he's already talking about going pro. He has the opportunity. I don't think that he will, because there's just too much competition currently in this year's quarterback cycle. That's why I think Will Howard will not go pro. I just think there's too much competition. You've got Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Drake May, Caleb Williams. All those guys are first round talent. Michael Penix Jr. I mean, you've got a lot of guys who are first round talent, and then you've got other guys that are second, third round that are still great quarterbacks. So I just think that Cam Ward's not going to go just yet. He could, because he said he's still thinking about it, but he's gone into the transfer portal. That being said, here we go. Cam Ward's PFF grades are fantastic. An 81.6 overall. He has a 79 pass grade and a run grade of essentially 70. He's done really well over the years, with 2022 being his worst year. Not a great year there. But let's look at some highlights of Cam Ward. Now, things I like about Cam Ward. I think he has an incredible arm. So he's 6'2", 231 pounds. He checks all the boxes as a veteran. He has NFL level arm talent. He can hurt defenses with his legs big time. He's prolific in this 2023 offense for the Cougars. I mean, you see him running right there. It's just incredible. He completed 66.7% of his passes for 3,732 yards, 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. You got to really like that. He added 8 rushing touchdowns. Now, like I said, he could go pro. I just don't see it with this year's cycle. Now, he's not. Some of the things that kind of scare me about Cam Ward is his decision making sometimes can be questionable, but that doesn't mean I'm down on him at all. I'm not. I think if he was to come to Nebraska, my goodness, would they be incredible overnight? I mean, just look at this arm talent right there. I mean, just effortless when he throws. And so I really like the Cam Ward deal. why do I think that he is considered that he could be connected to Nebraska? Well, in a video that was released, he last time he entered the portal, he had Nebraska as in his top three. It was Ole Miss and Nebraska, and I can't remember the other one, but anyway, he mentioned he really liked Nebraska, was really considering him. Nebraska was really considering him, and vice versa. So the reason why I could see Cam Ward coming here is for that specific reason, a pass connection, and he really liked it. He's going to demand a lot of money in the NIL, and so I think that the con to him and why he probably has the least amount of chance of on this list of coming is, like I said, I think he goes pro next year. So I think he's a 1-year bridge quarterback, which again, Matt Rule's not against it, but I think he's looking for somebody that's multi-year because he said that. And then the other thing is he's going to demand a lot of money. I don't know if Nebraska, I think they're willing. I just don't think that that's high on their list of paying out quarterbacks. So that's Cam Ward. Let's go to our next one. My next one is Matthew Sluka. Now, Matthew Sluka is the Holy Cross quarterback. His connection to Nebraska is a offensive analyst in Michael or Adam DeMichael, who played quarterback at Temple. I think he has a good chance, and a lot of people are saying it out on Twitter, to become the next quarterbacks coach. I think that would be great. He was a quarterback, like I said, at Temple, but his brother Anthony is the safeties coach at Holy Cross, and so there's that connection. Now let's look at Matthew's PFF grades. Off the charts. Okay. I mean, look at that. 92.3 overall in 2023, 91.6 in 2022, and he just got better every year. Passing grade, really good. But notice his run grade, 91.1. So there's some things to that. He's 6'3", 216 pounds. He is a senior, but he's not draft eligible till 2025. So another one that I'm like, there's a possibility that the Huskers may not go after him with that, but I think because of that connection, there's a pretty good chance. Now, let me hit you with some of his video highlights here. Now, some of the notes I have on Sluka are this. He's 6'3", 216 pounds. Over the course of his career, Sluka threw for 5,896 yards, 59 touchdowns, and just 15 interceptions. Even better than those numbers is that he's clearly shown himself to be a dual threat kind of quarterback, as he's also rushed for 3,579 yards and 38 touchdowns. That's just insane. He's run for over 1,000 yards in each of his last 2 seasons and has never had more than 5 interceptions in a single season. So some other things that I've said about Sluka after just watching some of his game tape is Sluka is an incredible runner. He's sneaky fast and elusive. Just watch him right here. I mean, he just stiff arms the dude. He's not afraid. He kind of reminds me of Baker Mayfield in the sense that he's not afraid to just get out there and have somebody hit him. And he's hard to bring down. He's a big guy. Doesn't seem that way. Now, his arm talent is kind of average in my opinion. When you watch him throw, he has kind of a low sidearm release that it reminds me of Heinrich Harburg a little bit. He's not near as bad, but it's that low. And I don't know, in a Division I big time program, that worries me a little bit. Not saying it's not still a good arm. I mean, he's shown that he can throw for it, but because of he's only faced Ivy League talent. I mean, Holy Cross plays Georgetown, Harvard, Yale. You know, the most, I would say, D1-ish school team they faced is Army, and that's not that big a deal to me. So there is a massive talent gap between what he has faced and what he would face at Nebraska with Big Ten, especially now with USC, UCLA, all those things. Now, again, I think he is a 1-year guy. He would be a 1-year bridge guy, but because of that connection, I think that there's going to be a lot of schools really interested in him because of those numbers. Those numbers are outrageous, but again, we have to put that talent where what he was facing compared to what he would face in a D1 school. But I still think there's going to be some big schools going after him. So that's my number 2 guy. My number 3 guy that we're looking at here is Tyler Shuck. That's how you say his name. Tyler Shuck from Texas Tech. Now, Tyler was originally at Oregon before going to Texas Tech. So his overall grade is a 65 for 2023. He got hurt. So I'll go into more of that in just a minute. But if you look at his previous years, 2022, 2021, those are good grades, 74.1, 76.9. He has been around a long time. He is a redshirt senior because of same thing as kind of Casey Thompson. He's been hurt, so he's been allowed to continue to play. His pass grade, not super great. His run grade is incredible, much like Matthew Sluka. Now, the difference is Tyler and Matthew, two different kind of talent levels that they're playing at. Let's look at some of Tyler's game tape here. So he stands tall in the pocket, good arm. Let me kind of pull up some of my notes. So 6'5", 185 pounds. Shuck began his career with the Oregon Ducks before transferring to Texas Tech and playing with the Red Raiders the last 3 seasons. While in the Big 12, he suffered a number of injuries, including a fractured fibula suffered during the 4th game of the season versus West Virginia. Before seeing his season end prematurely, Shuck threw for 746 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Husker fans, listen to that. 4 interceptions. All 4 of those came in one game against Oregon, by the way. In his second game of the year, he carried the ball 23 times for 101 yards and a touchdown. Tyler is a big man, runs very well for his size, good arm, can make all the throws. Decision-making can be rough at times, as, again, going back to those 4 interceptions in one game. His pocket awareness is average to me, to below average. He wants to run many, many times. I mean, even though you're seeing these highlights of throwing, again, they're highlights, but if you watch some other things, I feel like he wants to run before he wants to throw typically. But he moves really well for a big guy. He has a lot of experience that he brings to the game. So I don't think though I'm saying, hey, his decision making at times can be rough, or he wants to run kind of first. I still don't think he would be a bad get in the transfer portal, in my opinion. Being a big guy, still has a big arm. I think there's a good chance. Now, again, another bridge guy. So let's look at what are a couple of other guys that I truly think would be incredible gets. These next 2 guys, I think, outside of Cam Ward. Okay, I think Cam Ward would just be incredible. I think Will Howard would be incredible. But I think this next guy, Tyler Van Dyke, who I talked about in another video with Will Howard in my last video, you can definitely check that out if you'd like. But Tyler Van Dyke is the quarterback of Miami. These grades are really good. Now, here's the downside, or here's what you need to know about Tyler Van Dyke. First and foremost, he had 3 different offensive coordinators the last 3 years. That stability is kind of brutal, and yet he still did pretty well from these PFF grades. If you don't understand PFF grades, I've got a video. I will link it. I'll have the card coming up right now. You can click on that, and it'll explain to you how the PFF grading system works and why I like it better than just looking at stats. So with that, in 2023, 83.7 is a really good grade. I mean, that's thinking about it over a span of 12 games. He's performing at a very high level consistently, because it goes to 100. You're not going to see anybody get to 100. Most guys are going to be in the college level that are incredible, like the Bo Nixes, the Caleb Williams. They're going to be in the 90s. Tyler Van Dyke is doing really well here. So if you see, his pass grade is really, really good. His run grade, not so much. Well, why is that? Well, he's not so much a runner. He is a pure pocket passer for the most part. He is a pro style quarterback if I've ever seen one. And here, let's look at his game tape here. So look at this throw right here. Just beautiful touch right there. Stands strong in the pocket, has really good pocket awareness, in my opinion. You see my notes. 6'4", 220 pounds, has a big arm, pro style quarterback, reads the field really well, has good pocket awareness. He's not a runner. Okay. It doesn't mean he can't run. It just think of him more like Casey Thompson in that he has the ability to run, but that's not what he does first and foremost. Look at this right here. I mean, good arm, stand strong, has three, like I said, has had three different offensive coordinators over the last 3 years. Here's the reason why I think he could come to Nebraska. He doesn't have a connection right off the bat with Nebraska. I forgot to say this about Tyler Shuck, by the way. Let me go back here. Tyler Shuck, his connection to Nebraska is his head coach at Texas Tech is Garrett McGuire's father, Garrett McGuire being the wide receivers coach for Nebraska. So I think that there's a really good connection there, and Matt Rule has a very good relationship with Garrett McGuire's dad. So I think that there's that connection. Now, Tyler Van Dyke has no connection, but 24/7 Sports had an article on Nebraska being a good landing spot and a place that they could see Tyler Van Dyke going. So that's the only reason why I had him here, because he's the only one that doesn't have a pure connection to Nebraska like all the others. But man, I don't know. I look at these throws. Let me see if I can back this up a little bit. Some of these throws are just awesome. This one right here. Oh, I mean, just perfectly placed. I really like Tyler Van Dyke's skill set. He doesn't necessarily match what Marcus Satterfield does. So that's the con to him, because Marcus Satterfield likes a quarterback that can run, right? And so we look at Chuba Purdy, we look at Jeff Sims, and that's why Matthew Sluka makes a lot of sense. Cam Ward makes a lot of sense. Cam Ward's first reaction is not to run, though, it's to pass. Matthew Sluka's first deal is to run, and then Tyler Van Dyke, not so much. And then Tyler Shuck also, he can go both ways, I feel like, but I feel like his natural reaction is to kind of run first if he starts feeling heat pretty quickly. All right, let's keep going. So my next guy here is MJ Morris from NC State. MJ Morris is a former three-star quarterback at NC State. Will be a sophomore this year. He was the number 28 quarterback in the nation in his class when he came out. This is how his connection to Nebraska is. Nebraska was in his top 3 before he committed to NC State. So that's something to really note right there. MJ Morris looks really good. There's not a whole lot of game tape on him because he's not really played a whole lot, but let's bring up his PFF grades. So it doesn't look great. 2022, he had a 65.6, and then 2023, 52.8. He did not play a lot of snaps. I mean, just look at his total snaps over here to your right in that little circle. It's going to show you 145 and 91. So 223 snaps total at quarterback is not a lot. And he didn't do a whole lot here. I mean, his overall grade, 52.8, like I said, pass grade, 52.1, 58.3. Now, I think that's a little bit kind of a hard read. Now, again, I didn't get to see a lot of his game tape. What I'm going to be showing is highlights. So I want you to see, I think he could be a good get for Nebraska because he's young and he's got some incredible skill set. He reminds me a lot of Cam Ward. Just watch him. I want you to watch his arm talent. Moves really well. Throws great on the run. That's a good, strong throw. Throwing on the run right there. My notes on MJ Morris, again, former 3-star, 6'1", 220 pounds. He reminds me of a younger version of Cam Ward. Cam Ward's not an old man, but that's who he reminds me of. Just kind of how he moves in the pocket, stands strong, has good, like that. That's a good touch on that pass. He stands well in the pocket, great arm talent, gifted runner, more apt to throw first than run first, has minimal starting experience in learning that he needs to learn the college game a little bit more, but is certainly a prospect to keep an eye on for Nebraska. Like I said, I think if they were to go get MJ Morris to compete with Chuba Purdy, I would not be against it. Would I want to see a guy who has more experience? Sure. But look at that right there. Like, there is a lot to go off of. Now I know some of you guys are like, yeah, well, Jeff Sims could make all the throws and looked, can run. Yeah, okay. Jeff Sims though has a past of turning the ball over, and they already knew that. MJ Morris is still young with not a lot of experience and a lot of upside, and he just needs to learn the game more. So there's a difference there. He doesn't come with the baggage of turnovers. All right, so the last guy I've got is another guy, does not have a lot of experience, comes from Michigan State, and Sam Levitt. Now, why do I bring up Sam Levitt? What is his connection? Well, he's not being necessarily pursued by Nebraska, but he himself wants to come to Nebraska, per Steve Sipple in his latest article at Husker Online. Uh, Sam is a former four-star. He was the number 24 quarterback in the nation coming out. He is a freshman. He reminds me a ton. When I show you his tape, you're going to see what I'm talking about. He reminds me a ton of Chubba Purdy. That's exactly the way he runs, the way he throws. All of it just makes me think of him. Now, his PFF grades, unlike MJ Morris, very high. So let's pull this up here. So look at this. I mean, but he only had 45 snaps, whereas MJ Morris had over 200. So there's more kind of game tape to go on. Now, 72.6 overall grade for 2023. Passing, not great. Running, really good. Looks really good with that 85.8. That's a lot of why I think he reminds me a lot of Chubba Purdy. Let's look at his game tape. There's not a whole lot of highlight stuff out there. Not a lot to look at. Let me back it up here. So here you go. Drops back. Do you see how that looks more like Chubba Purdy? He doesn't keep his eyes downfield. He's looking to run. Is like feels the pressure a little bit, but notice that he is more ready to run than he is to pass. It's like he does not trust himself. Now I believe on this he does pass here. And it's just kind of that short, kind of West Coast dink and dunk. I do believe he does have a shot he takes. It's not this one. But do you see how he kind of reminds me of Chubba Purdy? Could I see them inviting Sam Levitt to Nebraska to compete with Chubba Purdy? Yep. Why? He's young. He has a lot of years to go on. And see that back shoulder, like that was so underthrown. It worked, but it was very underthrown. See that right there, like that, I don't know, just kind of that stand up straight run, kind of elusive, sneaky elusive. Like, see, he's a run first, then pass first type of guy. That's why I think that Nebraska would definitely be interested, because he's a freshman and he's a more run first than pass first, which seems like, which I realize like this year they had to kind of be more that way because our guys turn the ball over like machines. But I could see them going, all right, there's a lot to build off of here. He looks a lot like Chubba. We can really kind of mold our game plan by two guys who are very similar in skill set and let them compete. So that's that. Out of all of those guys, who would I like to see? Well, like I said, Cam Ward would definitely be my number one. And then Tyler Van Dyke would be my number two. And I could really see it, though he is not a run guy. Matt Rule wants to run, I believe, more of a pro style offense. And I could see Tyler Van Dyke being that guy. And if he came, I would be pumped. Now, again, Will Howard, that would be incredible. Like in any of those guys that are in that top echelon, yeah, of course. But I wouldn't hate it if MJ Morris or Sam Levitt, like I'm not saying I would, Sam Levitt's my guy. I'm just saying I wouldn't hate it because there's an obvious talent there, but they would need to definitely be molded and get more experience. Tyler Shuck, however you say it. I think though there's a big connection there, he runs well for a big guy. I don't know that I would be like, oh yeah, super pumped about it. It's like, okay, yeah, his Oregon tape is much better in my opinion than his Texas Tech tape. But him being injury prone, him only having 1 year, I just don't see it personally. But I'm not the coach. All that being said, let me know who you think. And it may not even be any one of these guys. I just tried to go and do a ton of research, look at tape and go, all right, is there any connection here? Who do I think could fit their styles, that type of thing? This is just my own personal opinion. I think these guys are all great fits, or would be a fit in a possible, but in a possibility. But I think out of all of them, that Tyler Van Dyke would just be the best, in my opinion, of a get. Let me know in the comments who you think would be the best get. Now, if you comment Will Howard, sure, everybody wants Will Howard, but who do you think realistically? Who do you want? Do you have somebody? If you got something out of this video, you learned something or whatever, would you like this video? Would you share it with somebody? Would you consider subscribing? That would be great. Thank you guys to all of you who have helped grow this channel so quickly over the last couple of weeks since putting out videos. I can't believe it. It's been awesome. So I just want to thank you guys for being, of course, the best fans out there. That being said, we'll see you next time. Oh, go Big Red. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.